Rise of Kingdoms official Japanese Twitter account just dropped some massive bombs, confirming that Joan of Arc Prime and other commanders are on their way. A new 3v3 gameplay is coming, and there's a new game under development. Although don't worry, Rise of Kingdoms will not be impacted. Stick around in this video for the crucial translation of this massive info drop from the Japanese Rise of Kingdoms official Twitter page. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and I try to bring you the latest and greatest news as soon as it happens. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, consider doing so you don't miss the latest Rise of Kingdoms news as soon as it drops. Courtesy of the Asbodian Discord server and my buddy Ruz pointing this out to me, here is the info drop from the official Rise of Kingdoms Japanese Twitter account. Are you ready? This is crazy. Dear Governor, the time has come for a new planning dialogue. In this dialogue, we'd like to share with you the new systems and adjustments that we will be updating in-game in 2022. How will new project development affect ROK development? This is where it's like, wait a minute. So did they just announce they're working on a new game? Did you know about this? The ROK development team and the new project development team are independent teams, so there will be no impact on ROK development. Rise of Kingdoms, and then I don't know what that is, 100,000 something, is one of the games we're working on the most. It looks like it's 10,000 Kingdoms is the way that translates later on here. Anyways, is one of the games that we're working on the most, and we will continue to develop and improve with the same resources as before. The development of the planned game is currently progressing smoothly. Please be assured that the development team for the new project will be an independent team, not affecting Rise of Kingdoms. So they're working on some other game. I don't know what it is, but they say it's not going to affect Rise of Kingdoms. Okay, fine. When will the new season scenario appear? We're currently developing 2 new season scenarios in parallel with a focus on optimizing play algorithms and stories. This is KvK Season 4 and beyond, okay? We're focusing on making the scenario experience more interesting, more immersive, such as adding a new battle mode for 3v3. Let's go, baby. I've been saying a 3v3 KvK format just makes sense. If lag is an issue, bring in less kingdoms. That's got to be less lag, right? 3v3 is still, I think, what I find actually really interesting, what I find shocking, is that they called it 3v3. That in of itself could be really important to understand. They didn't say a 6-kingdom format. They said 3v3. So maybe they actually mean, like, you are directly allied in advance or at some point with 2 other kingdoms besides your own. And it's a 3v3. There's no like, oh, it's going to be 4v2 or, free-for-all. I mean, of course, players can go in whatever direction they want, but the fact that they call it 3v3 is really interesting. And one of those scenarios will be released later this year. Okay, so we're getting one new scenario later this year. I feel like if it was going to be the 3v3, wouldn't they have told us it was going to be 3v3? They already told us they're making a 3v3, so it's probably the other one we're getting soon. Let's look at the rest of this message, shall we? Will the ranged attack system come out this year? The ranged attack system is currently the content we're putting the most effort into developing, and it's scheduled to appear later this year. As we touched on, the long-range attack system in past planning dialogues, it is a very bold attempt to use and deepen strategic play in all aspects. This could change things in a way that really sucks if they get it wrong, or is really awesome if they get it right. So that it changes all aspects such as battles, battlefields, and weapon types. After a certain period of testing, we received many opinions and suggestions regarding how to play the game and where to stand. We currently are working on optimizations and adjustments to address these issues. We're preparing long-distance gameplay, commanders, equipment, etc. If all goes well, they will appear within this year. I am really, extremely concerned about equipment. And the reason that I'm extremely concerned about equipment is that the developers, even with their achievements in-game right now, are basically shoving people in the direction of making 7 sets of legendary equipment to get the achievements and get all the iconic crystals. They're telling you, go make all this legendary gear, and then at the same time, they're also going and releasing new equipment. And I'm not saying you can't ever release new equipment, but it's like a brand new equipment category, potentially. I don't know. I have a lot of concern around the ranged combat equipment and the possibility of making thousands of dollars worth of legendary equipment irrelevant. So I really hope that they do not make thousands of dollars worth of legendary equipment that people have acquired irrelevant, because I feel like that will be, I mean, I would be super triggered if that happened. So even though I think the game direction based on the achievements and so on is pointing toward go make a bunch of equipment and legendary sets, you probably shouldn't have 7 distinct legendary sets. Most people don't have this problem. Let's go to the next one. What are your future plans for new commanders? The frequency of the new commanders will remain the same, and the prime commanders and regular commanders will continue to be updated regularly. So this is every 2 to 3 months. We see 2 new commanders show up in the game, Mightiest Governor and also Wheel of Fortune. That's the main cycle. And by the way, that cycle goes and it starts with cavalry, goes to infantry, goes to archers, and then leadership. At this time, we're about to get leadership commanders following that same cycle. In addition to the existing 4 types of commanders, we're developing a new type of commander, and we plan to update this type of commander at the same time as the remote play method. So there's a lot to take in here, but what I'm seeing is exactly what I feared up above. Like, if you add 7 sets of legendary equipment, GG, because that's probably going to be a bad thing soon. And what I'm trying to say is they're adding a new type of commander. Does that, I mean, ranged commander, right? The 4 existing types of commanders. Okay, so leadership, we've got archers, we've got infantry, we've got cavalry. What about integration, guys? Integration is so irrelevant, by the way. We have even forgotten to mention the fact that we have not 4 types currently, but 5, but whatever. We'll just forget integration exists, okay? We're developing a new type of commander. We plan to update this type of commander by the same time as the remote play method. Remote play method, maybe they're saying like the new season of KvK. Will the prime commanders continue to appear in the future? Will Prime Joan of Arc be next? Prime Joan of Arc is currently in the design state. Okay, so Prime Joan of Arc coming soon. At the same time, we plan to create prime commanders for almost all current epic commanders. Commander P, or Prime, will appear in a sequence based on certain cycles. So they're going to put this on a cycle. I don't know what the cadence will be exactly, but expect to see it in a predictable way, which is sort of interesting. Any future adjustments to the immigration rules? Regarding the immigration rules, we plan to make further adjustments and further developments, and the governor's suggestions will keep you informed of any changes. The above is the content of all the planning dialogues at this time. So if this is translated correctly, they're basically saying, that's all we got, folks. This is everything. This is all the big stuff. If you have any questions or opinions, please let us know through the official customer support. Thank you for the continued support of Rise of Kingdoms World's Awakening. We hope you continue to enjoy the game. World's Awakening. I feel like this is translating differently every time. Rise of Kingdoms World's Awakening. I think the official name of Rise of Kingdoms, instead of World's Awakening, I think they mean Lost Kingdom is like the English version of this name. Or Lost Crusade. That's it. Lost Crusade. Rise of Kingdoms Lost Crusade. So in Japan, is it World's Awakening? If you know, let me know down below in the comments. So overall, what are we getting presumably this year, or everything they have in development at this time? We're talking about 2 new KvK formats, one of which they have explicitly said is 3v3, not a 6 kingdom format, but 3v3. Prime commanders coming on a regular cadence, and every commander will ultimately have a prime form. A new type of commander, which we sort of knew they were hinting at before, and I expressed a lot of concern around ranged combat at that time, and all this ranged equipment being like a whole new category of thing that kind of like wrecks you if you already had a bunch of legendary equipment. And maybe it will, maybe it won't. We won't know until we see it, is what I'm trying to say. But one thing now you need to think about is like, if I have 4 sets of legendary equipment, should I work on a 5th? Or am I going to want that 5th set to be a range set? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. But this range set probably has some implications for what legendary gear you invest in right now. Because one of the 5 marches you might ultimately bring into the field, maybe, is a ranged march. Maybe. Maybe more. What if you want 2 or 3 and they're super OP? And it's like, what about all these sets I already made? Well, if you have legendaries, hard to melt them down, man. You lose half the materials. That definitely sucks. If they're epics, not such a big deal, right? You just melt those down and you lose the patterns, and that kind of sucks, but at least you get all the materials back and you lose the gold only and the pattern. Oh, and they're working on some other game, by the way, which, like, I'd love to play it. Can I beta test it, please? Lilith, if you're listening, can I beta test it, please? If you enjoyed the video, do me a huge favor, throw a like on here and consider subscribing. I try to bring you the latest and greatest news as soon as it drops, and this is hot off the presses. Thank you again to Ruz for letting me know that this info had dropped, and to the Asbodian Discord for containing this information. Much appreciated. And this is official, man. You can see it for yourself on the Japanese official Rise of Kingdoms verified Twitter account. Wow. And I used Google Translate to just translate everything that's in here, right? So I took the pictures. It's Google Translate. This is not some, I mean, if it's not actually true information, someone went to an amazing amount of length. I mean, you couldn't. You'd have to verify an account and get a verified account with Twitter. Like, not happening, right? Like, this has to be true. I don't think this is a leak. Wow. This is crazy. Like, subscribe, and we'll be talking about this for the next couple days for sure.